Hello, everyone. Hello, America. Hello, planet Earth. I am Dana, the Angry Citizen, coming to you on this Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May 31st, 2024. Thank you all for joining me, us. I am the Angry Citizen. I founded this movement on the premise that enough of us in America were unhappy with our government and with the powers that be and our elected servants, that we could all unite under one banner to oppose their tyranny and fight for what is right and what is true and hold all elected servants accountable. I still believe we can do this. And in fact, we may be at a cusp of this, considering recent events regarding the man known as Donald Trump, who was, in my opinion, railroaded for crimes he did not commit and were at best uh, mildly irritating on a general scale, whilst simultaneously they ignored all of the heinous crimes committed by our elected servants, and especially the puppet known as Joe Biden and his son, etc. So I think most of us agree on the important issues of the day. I stand on that. I'm going to continue to push forward with that belief and that understanding, and hope that everyone in America will consider carefully the benefit of working together and unite under the banner of our Constitution, our rule of law, and demand accountability and transparency and justice and truth. And I think that once we all get on that page, we will see some progress made toward holding elected servants accountable and holding everyone accountable in our nation who has transgressed against us, against we the people. We the people rule this nation. We have all the power. All we have to do is use our power, and we will see justice. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for who have supported me. I appreciate you very much. And I'm actually very excited about upcoming events, including and foremost among them, the third annual Maine Freedom Rally and Health Choice Maine retreat, which is going to be hosted here in Maine on July 19th, 20th, and 21st by me, Dana the Angry Citizen, along with my beloved friend, ally, and brother, Ohio Brett Ball, and much more importantly than all of us, my friend, ally, and amazing sister, Tiffany from Health Choice Maine, who joins us now. And one of the most amazing patriots I've ever met. And I'm so incredibly grateful for her alliance, friendship, and co-hosting of this event. I'm very excited about it. And I'm really, really excited to show you guys who we're having come here, what the topics will be. The speakers are very powerful. There's going to be a lot of truth. And Tiffany, thanks for joining me. I know a short notice. I literally shot her out an email like a short time ago. I was like, let's do this. Let's podcast tonight. So thanks for joining me. How you doing? And what do you have to say to America about our upcoming event?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I always appreciate you having me. Um, it's one of those moments. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but when I first got your message saying, "Hey, let's hop on a podcast," I was literally arguing with myself in my brain, like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
and and I was like, I mean, I could just tell him I'm busy, but I'm not really busy, and that would be a lie. And I don't really talk to people, and I just was going back and forth, and finally I was just like, just say yes, because then you have to do it, and you can't talk yourself out of it. Uh, it's been a rough spring for everybody. I know you're feeling it. We're seeing it.
Yeah.
Um, and so when you messaged to podcast, I was like, all right, we're just gonna jump in the deep end because I can't keep isolating.
Yeah.
um, no, I'm excited about the uh, Freedom Rally and the retreat. This will be our third time that we've done the retreat. It's always our the biggest event that we do. Um, it was kind of cool that we were able to line it up this year and combine events to do one big super event, I guess. Um,
Yes. I
and I'm
like that. I like that title right there. Super event. Boom.
I'm really interested to see how this is going to go. Most people, if you've attended our retreats before, we always do them in September. It's starting to get really chilly on the coast here where we do it. Um, Last time we had some brave people that were camping in second week of September. on the down east coast of Maine where we host the event, I was a nervous wreck all weekend long. Every night I was bouncing between exhaustion from running the event and there's people in my backyard that are going to freeze to death. Like, you know, um they
Not
didn't.
freeze to death, but yes, I understand your concern, and
Yeah.
God bless you. That's why, one of the reasons, one of the many reasons I love you is you're a kind, compassionate person who don't want people to be in their tents shivering and cold on the coast of Maine. I totally get that.
Yeah. So this year we're doing it the weekend of July 19th. Um, Knock on wood, it's going to be a lot warmer and
Warmer.
far more beautiful than
Yes.
doing it in mid-September, where we're always fighting not just cold, but the first year we hosted it, we got chilly rain. Uh,
And wind.
yeah, we literally had boxes of blankets that we were providing people that were huddled up in blankets watching the movie that we were premiering on Saturday evening that year. And we had Dr. Andy Wakefield doing a live question and answer. And he comes on and he just sees a crowd of people sitting there in blankets.
Freezing, yeah. Shivering, yeah.
So I
Yeah,
think I'm excited about this year. And
me too.
we're actually going to be offering uh a camping option this year since so many people had asked about it last time and we're doing it earlier. It'll be warmer, it'll be nicer, it'll be a good weekend for camping, knock on wood. So we're actually going to have a camping option. um and I think it's a really important time. We're coming right up on an election. uh
Yep.
there's a lot of things that tend to get lost in the chaos of an election cycle, right? There is a lot of emotionally induced messaging that you've got analysts that spend lots of money and do studies to figure out how to invoke the strongest emotions in either party, right?
To persuade people to vote for their candidate,
And to donate and to volunteer, to give time,
participate,
money,
support.
to give resources to and to vote. And you've got propaganda and everyone in their
Yep.
brother that has something that is important to them is in everybody's face. It becomes chaotic.
Yep.
And I think
Very.
I think what's going to be an important part of doing the event this year is that this is going to be a moment that allows us to take a moment together as a community with people who are not politicians, with whistleblowers, with experts, with people who have been through the system and been victimized by the system.
Yes.
And it's going to be a chance to take a weekend to just really remember and reframe what is actually important and who is actually oh, focused on that.
And trustworthy was the word that popped in my mind as soon as you said that. Trustworthy, because we all have been bombarded with people, their messages, their claims, and who in their daily lives has the time to track down every single claim that is made by every single person that sounds authentic and sounds legitimate. And you and I do. That's one of the reasons we're so incredibly busy and sometimes so exhausted, because we track down these claims. Who said what, when? Who is this person? Where did they come from? What are their credentials? What is the evidence that they have that their claim is correct? And it's very, very time consuming and tedious and difficult
But
to do this.
even with us, I know with at least with me anyway, um, I keep a very firm, thumb on the pulse of all things related to bodily autonomy, informed consent, medical freedom, parental
Yes.
rights.
Yes.
And that consumes all of my time. And so even I depend on people like me and you that are doing the same with other issues. I depend on them to keep me aware of other things that are important. For example, the Second Amendment, right? I'm not going to name names, but there is a candidate running for uh, candidacy in CD1, I believe, for Congress. And I initially was very impressed with this candidate. They had reached out to Health Choice Maine 5 or 6 months ago, and they had actually solicited us for a meeting to sit down and discuss, what kind of policy would be helpful, what do we need, what are the important things that are affecting medical freedom and parental rights. You don't get that a lot with politicians and
Right.
the quote unquote vaccine people, right?
Right.
Not a lot of politicians are beating down our door to get our opinion before
Right.
an election.
Right. Because you're
Um,
controversial and you're epitomizing and
right.
championing a very controversial issue, and they do not like controversy. They avoid it like the plague. Not
Right.
even because they aren't going to take a side or don't have an opinion, but because they don't want it to be to experience
If
political
I if
fallout.
I had a penny for every politician that did not want to be publicly seen with us,
Yep.
but they will privately tell us
Yep.
that they're all for us.
Yep.
Um, I'm getting to where that doesn't hold the credit it used to anymore.
Good. Good.
This isn't 2010. In 2010, that flew. That doesn't fly anymore.
Shouldn't fly.
Uh,
We the
this,
people shouldn't let it fly. You
no.
stand up, you man up, you voice your damn opinion, and you stand by it,
And
or
the
you
thing is,
don't.
it's a mainstream issue now. This is not the fringe topic it used to be. This is a mainstream issue now. Um, and so I was very impressed that this candidate had reached out to
Reached out.
us. And then someone that pays very close attention in the same way I do with medical freedom to the Second Amendment. Um, I was speaking with them and they were like, well, have you seen his statements on gun control? And I was like, well, no, I
No.
haven't, you know, and not only does he have outright quoted statements that he put in the public himself that said that not all citizens should share in our Second Amendment right.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to open background checks up to be able to access private medical information.
Medical information. Yep.
And so it reminded me, that as closely as I can watch our issue that is our job to focus on, we are as dependent on others doing the same with the other rights that are equally important,
Yes.
you know and
Yes.
and that's one of those things that gets lost in all of the campaign chaos, right?
Yes.
People get very tunnel vision, tunnel focus, and they get so focused on the one thing that's important to them right in that moment
They
that
forget about
we forget all of these other things that
the
are
other rights are just as important. Yeah, I agree
right.
with you completely. So, and you and I have been friends a while. We've known each other. We've done events together. And so, if I sound to you, America, like I'm a little biased toward her, I am, because she's a friend. I've known her a while. We've done events together, and we're very much aligned in purpose. And the one thing that we agree on at the end of every day is that my rights are yours and yours are mine. If I watch your rights getting taken away from you, then you can sit and watch mine getting taken away from me. And I will never do that. And that's one of the reasons we are so fiercely aligned in this event. The event being the Health Choice Maine Retreat and third annual Maine Freedom Rally. These rights are all intertwined. If you don't stand up for your rights, they're going to go away. And if you don't stand up for my rights, I will be stripped of mine. And you can watch and say, well, it's not me. So, sorry, but, I can't help you. But we can all help each other if we all stand together. And that's the purpose of our event, is to have unity and purpose and strength through truth. And all of our speakers are going to present you, America, with truth. And you can, if you want to hide from it, you can. But the truth is the sort of God, and you can deny it all day long. But at the end of the day, what's happening is happening. We are being stripped of our rights. Our medical rights are foremost among them, because if you are told that you must have a medical procedure inflicted upon you against your wishes, you have been stripped of every right you have. and we've been united on that since day one. And no matter what our differences might be, we should unite on that. So I know that Tiffany stands with me on that. I stand with her on that. And that's been the focus and the purpose of Health Choice Maine, and why I support Tiffany so wholeheartedly, because at no point am I going to subject to an unwanted medical procedure inflicted on me, or God forbid, especially on my child, against my wishes.
It is sort of the perfect snapshot right now as well, to really see how these things evolve. Because when this first began, as a actual, attack on uh, informed consent, bodily autonomy, 2019, when LD 798 was introduced, um, the whole premise that was this bill was sold on was that this was a childhood vaccine bill. This was for public safety. If you needed a medical exemption, you'd be able to get one. Maine had a dangerously low vaccine rate, which was never true to begin with. Um, and that it was just a public health thing. This was a safety thing. This was a health and safety thing.
Public
We
safety.
we tried to scream from the rooftops that it will not end here. They will not be satisfied with just taking non-medical exemptions. And it has only been 4 years. 4 years since then. And now we are seeing, not only did they take non medical exemptions, they basically took medical exemptions. They have now further restricted every caveat written into that bill that did exist. So, prior, part of the bill was that if a child had positive laboratory immunity, positive titers testing, this means that the child has uh, robust antibodies to a whatever we're vaccinating for, whether it's
Right.
chickenpox, mumps, measles, etc. If they show positive antibodies, that is acceptable.
Yep.
Now
They've
that
taken that away.
they've taken that away,
Of course.
and now
Everyone gets injected.
exactly,
No exceptions. You
it's
must.
all
If you
vaccines,
don't, we will
no
punish
matter
you.
what. Period. And we've watched them further restrict this bill that at every turn. Now, in 4 years, now children can consent to all mental health, drug and alcohol counseling, reproductive and
Yep.
sexual health.
Yep.
Uh,
The state
coming,
is taking over the medical care
coming
of our children.
coming soon. We're waiting on the guidance language from DHHS, but it should be out any week now,
Yep.
and that will be extending to allowing all children of all ages in Maine to consent to gender affirmation care.
Right.
So this started with just taking away religious exemptions for vaccines, and this has ended with uh, parents don't have many medical rights to their
Yeah.
children.
And at the end of the day, just for God and America, I state to you right now categorically that I, as the father of my children, maintain my right as a father over them. You have no authority over my children. You have no right to inflict any kind of medical procedure on my child without my knowledge and consent. You have no right to counsel or school or teach my child anything that is beyond my consent. I defy you. I decry you. And as a father, I am filled with righteous outrage that anyone would seize control of my child and tell me that you're going to dictate what's right for my child, and I have no right to be involved or know about that. That makes me livid, really, really angry. And all of us should be. Everyone in America should say no. If
And
your children are your children, the government is the least trustworthy entity on the planet to be dictating what should be done to children and what sorts of quote unquote care, which is the phrase they always, the word they use every time, care. We're caring for your child by doing things you may not want or approve of. And we're not even going to tell you we're going to do it. We're just going to do it without your knowledge and consent. No way. I defy you.
They're not ending there either with medical care. They're extending beyond that. The state actually, this is their language. I'm not joking. I about fell out of my chair when I saw this because the state themselves, they are calling it the cradle to career pipeline. And
I heard that
they,
phrase.
they are working on creating a cradle to career pipeline that they plan to usher your child through.
Yeah, government.
And it will begin with district oversight, so basically state oversight of children from 3 months on
Yep.
forward.
Yep.
And as they're creating this pipeline, they are also passing laws to limit the options parents would have to opt out. So, for
Of
example,
course.
pardon me. For example, there are I don't know how many families that are members of Health Choice that are homeschooling because of 798, that are only getting by in this economic disaster, right? Because they are relying on help from their parents to help with childcare and homeschooling. So the government passed a law that you can only provide childcare for two of your relatives in the state of Maine without
I heard
applying
this. Yeah.
for a family child care provider
Yep.
license.
Yep. Yep. Which
Now,
everyone in Maine should object to. Every single person in Maine should be
it's
standing up
insane.
and saying, "Who the hell are you to tell me that I can't watch my grandchildren? If I
Exactly.
want to watch
It's
three of
insane.
my own grandchildren, you're telling me I'm not allowed to do this? You've decided you're going to let me do this if you just deem it appropriate." It makes my blood
And
boil. It's ridiculous.
and the family child care provider license comes with mandatory inspection. So a
Mm,
state inspector will
of
come to
course.
your home and they can decide anything. They can decide
Yep.
that you have the wrong windows.
Yep.
So you're not qualified to watch your grandchildren.
Yep.
Um, and the license itself is only good for 18 months. In 18
Yep.
months, you have to reapply and go through the whole thing again.
I wish, Tiffany, I wish that we could convince people in Maine, as a general rule of every single person in Maine, convince them the first thing you need to ask is, by what authority do you come to me and tell me that you demand that I do this thing? By what authority do you demand to come inspect my home? Who gave you the right to tell me that you approve or disapprove of something I am doing? You have no lawful authority. We need to tell them this, and we need to send this resounding message. Everyone in Maine should be on board with this. Why would you decide that the government gets to tell you how to raise your kids or how to school your kids, or whether you can send three of your children over to your mother or father to watch for a while because they're the grandparents of those children? It's ludicrous. So God help us. We got to get people on board with this concept that
And
we need to defy these people. They don't have the authority.
and this is where, people have heard me say a lot, like politicians can't save us. And I stand by that. Um, I also think that it is incredible if you are sitting back doing nothing, waiting for an election, because that's the
Agree.
it's also incredibly unfair of you to put that kind of weight on any politician
Elected
to
servants.
expect them to be able to solve something that, first of all, took us 10 years. It took us 10 years to get here. That's 10 years of apathy, 10 years of complacency,
Yep.
10 years of us not paying attention, and I'm in that group. I did not become incredibly active and engaged until 2017, 2018. Um, this started back in 2012, 2014, when we tracked the policy timelines back. The Community Schools Act was passed under the Republicans in 2015. So it took us 10 years to get here. We cannot expect any one politician to be the solution.
So I'm gonna agree with you, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is a critical issue, and I want to kind of boil it down to its essence if we can, because the very foundation of my own movement, the Angry Citizen, was that if enough of us get together and express our honest views, we will see a consensus, and I believe we will, and I believe we all agree. No parent, I think, is willing to say some government agent is okay with coming to my home, telling me what to do, telling me how many children I'm allowed to watch, telling me, that they disagree with me and they're going to impose penalties on me. I believe we all agree on this. And if we and I respect what you're saying regarding no one politician can help us, but I think that the process would work if we all got involved. And that's where we always fall down. And you know this and I know this because we've been in the trenches, and we see some people show up, but a lot of people don't. And even when we were protesting early on about the scamdemic and all the issues that affect us, and we noticed that there were a lot of people there when the issue was affecting them, and they suddenly weren't all there once they got their pass, once they had a moment where that they were no longer being ordered to close their business or had themselves under threat by the government. They
once they had already
suddenly
been fired, once they had already been fired, or once they already
right,
been
right,
kicked out of school and had
right,
to
right,
we homeschool now. That doesn't affect not our problem anymore. We have to homeschool.
exactly,
If you
exactly,
don't think they're not coming for homeschoolers, you are sorely mistaken.
absolutely. So at
And it
the end of the
does not
day,
look like
we
the way
all get
they think it
involved. We all make our voices heard. We all support a cause, even if it's a minor a contribution to a cause. If you agree with Tiffany, if you agree with what she's doing, okay, go to the website, healthchoicemaine.org, subscribe to the newsletter, hear what she is saying, follow her initiatives, and voice your support. And what I've always endorsed and supported very loudly, although normally I'm on my own, is voicing my objections to these elected servants, which I do very loudly. And they always dismiss me because I'm some crazy dude in Brewer, Maine. They don't care what I have to say. I go, well, you are all traitors and you violated your oath. And you're sending our money off to foreign nations, and you aren't being accountable. And they don't care. They send me the little stamped letter that, well, we thank you for contacting our office, and Senator King is very concerned with the voices of constituents and always takes very seriously these issues and was labored to be a good servant. It's a blow off. But if I had 1,000 people send the same letter, you would see Angus King taking notice. And if I had 50,000 people in Maine behind me, you would see him very much taking notice, and the news would take notice, and people would say, okay, well, this guy, he may be a little nuts or whatever, but at least he has a point. He's asking valid questions. Why are you sending money we don't have off to foreign nations? Why are you approving measures that are unconstitutional? Why would you support having medical procedures inflicted on a person against their will, or inflicting coercion, threats, hostility, and that you're going to be fired from your job as a medical professional? You're being told you must endure a medical procedure which you have stated you do not wish and do not consent to. And they're telling you if you don't, you're going to get fired. And it's not like you're stupid. You're a medical professional. You're a paramedic, an EMS, a nurse. You know that what is involved in this, and you're saying you don't want it. And they're saying you're too stupid to make up your own mind. And not only
while
that,
also telling parents to trust the medical professionals.
there you go. So that's where I stand. And if you all, everyone listening and everyone that will listen, get behind this woman, go to her website, subscribe to her newsletter, throw her $1 or $5 or whatever you can to support her cause, because she's one of the hardest working patriots I know. God is my witness. And is trying to help you, the people of Maine, to defend yourself against medical tyranny. Who would endorse medical tyranny except communists, useful idiots? So that's where we stand.
I appreciate that a lot.
Sorry, just vented. Felt good, felt better. So thank you to all of our viewers, by the way. We have some very loyal and faithful viewers. Nicole, love you. Barbara, thank you for supporting. And a lot of people are enthusiastically supporting Tiffany, and I appreciate all of you very much, because she deserves your support. At the end of the day, a little bit of support goes a long way. If a bunch of people support someone, that person gains a lot of momentum and a lot of ability and a lot of power. And, Tiffany's standing up for our rights. She's standing up for, your right to say, I don't want an injection inflicted upon me against my wishes. And I don't, submit to your authority, and I don't especially uh, give you any authority over my children. My children are my children, and I will fight you to the death. You will never gain control of my children. I don't submit to your authority, and I don't give you the right or mandate or proclamation to dictate to me how I should raise my own children, unless you can directly prove that I am harming them. Then I have nothing to say to you. That's where I stand, and I'm not. I'm going to die on that hill. I will not give up. So let's move on. Talk a little bit about the event. So last time I was at the event, it was a great event. It's on the coast of Lemoyne, Maine. It's a beautiful setting, and we had some powerful speakers there. And I'm really looking forward to the next one, because not only because we combined forces on it, but because it's going to be a sort of vacation for me. We have the event starting on the 19th, which is a Friday, which is the official start date of the third annual Maine Freedom Rally. And I will be there, and my man Ohio Brett will be there. For those of you who don't know this guy, he's a pretty a big deal. I like to say big deal. You can go to ohiobrett.com. You can check him out. He's a very powerful man of God, fundraiser. He traveled all 24 states in the last 2 years. All 24, listen to me, all 50 states the last 2 years, traveled all 16 counties of Maine, and he's going to be here as my co-host. We're going to have some very powerful guests, including Dr. Merrill Nass will be there speaking. And we have Scott Shara from Scott Shara. His daughter, Grace, was murdered by hospitals. You can check her out at ouramazinggrace.net. He's going to be here speaking. You know, Tiffany will be there. Johnny Linehan will be there. And it's going to be a 3-day event. Well, 2.5 kind of, sort of. So we're starting on Friday. The Health Choice Maine event will be on Saturday. And it is a paid event, but we are trying to hopefully solicit a few people to help us out in terms of kind of general labor, including my buddy here, Carl, who's representing the Maine militia. And we'll be there.
The Health Choice Maine part of the event, the retreat part, runs all day Saturday and half the day Sunday. Yes, and we have 10 free tickets reserved for volunteers that are willing to come down a day in advance to help set up, stay a day late to help clean up. We'll be announcing our we'll start announcing our speakers as well this coming week. And then more information will be going up on our website, as well as a link to buy your tickets. I think. I don't know if I can do this or not, but I think I can. This is where we hold the retreat. This is all private property, waterfront. There's private access beach. There's a little hummingbird, very interested in what I'm doing. No, it's always a beautiful time. It's kid friendly, so bring the family. The kids run and play and have fun all weekend. It's always an awesome thing to see all of the kids just having an absolute blast, while the parents get to listen to some amazing speakers and experts. And we talk strategy, we talk upcoming campaigns, we talk lawsuits. This is where we can really get down into the details of the legal challenges that we're working on, that we can't usually speak about publicly very much. And it's just a wonderful weekend of being in a community of like-minded people that care as much as you do. That, you know, I've had people, this is going to sound cringy, but there's a lot of people that wait for the Health Choice retreat because they say that it is just the absolute best weekend of the year for them, because it is just a wonderful community and a beautiful location. We do it in a laid back manner so that you're not just listening to a speaker on a stage, but you actually get to spend time with them. You get to have dinner with them. You get to ask questions. We collaborate. We brainstorm. And that's one of my favorite things about the retreat.
Well said. Beauty. So the last time that you did this and I was there, it was very powerful, and I was like super happy. I made a lot of important connections, and that alone was powerful for me. But I felt like, when you first contacted me and you were talking about combining events, it felt very right to me, like it was really something that we needed to do. So I'm super optimistic about it and happy about it. And we have some really powerful guests coming to speak. And I actually invited Nurse Erin. She said she might be able to join us, but she's like super busy. But for those of you who do not know this woman, during the height of the scamdemic, we the people were told by the mainstream media that there was a horrible, evil plague sweeping the country and killing people in droves. And this woman, her name is Erin Marie, and I think it's Olevsky. I may be wrong in the pronunciation, forgive me, but this woman was working as a nurse at Elmhurst Hospital in New York. And she was very concerned, distraught about what she perceived as unethical practices being executed by the medical professionals there. And she became concerned to the point where she began to videotape her interactions with doctors and so-called health professionals there, because she felt that what they were doing was directly in contrast to the best interests of the patients of this hospital. And she did this very much at her own risk and to her own detriment. And eventually she published a book, and that book being called Undercover Nurse. And she talked openly about her experiences there and the things she saw. And it's deeply concerning, and in any context could be construed as them murdering patients. And she was so bold as to openly state that that's what she thought was going on there. And I had the fortune of meeting her and talking to her and getting to know her a little bit. And she appeared with me and Dr. Paul Goslin on a podcast and talked about her book and her experiences. And she will be joining us, flying up from Florida, where she's currently working as a nurse. So I'm super excited about having her there. And she also will have copies of her book there. And we're going to hook her up with a little signing table. So if you want a personally autographed book, you will be able to get one there. So super excited about that. And of course, Scott Shara, and a lot of you do know Scott because I have podcasted with him a couple of times. And his daughter, Grace, was basically murdered in a hospital. And his story is heart-wrenching. And you can check him out at ouramazinggrace.net. And I'll put that down in the banner there. So you go to ouramazinggrace.net. You can see Scott. You can hear his story. You can see all of what happened to him at the hospital, which is heart-wrenching as a parent. If you can see this and not shed a tear, you must have a heart of stone, because they did virtually murder his daughter. And it's agonizing to watch and agonizing to realize that it could have been your daughter or my daughter. So, and he will be here. He is coming up from, I don't remember if it's Texas or Georgia, or he lives down south somewhere. So he'll be here, and he will also be, available to talk to you personally and share his experiences. It's going to be a very powerful event, and I'm super excited about it. So please do join us if you can. The Saturday will be a paid event, but it's well worth the price of admission, folks. Trust me. Okay, you're going to get fed. You're going to meet powerful speakers and amazing guests, including me and Tiffany, and it'll be a life-changing experience. So join us if you can. July 19th, 20th, 21st. I'll have more information available about this relatively soon, and send you all some links. So tune in for that. Tiffany, thank you always for joining me. I really appreciate your friendship and your alliance, and we're making progress. I know sometimes it feels like we're not. I know we share the same thing. Like Tiffany and I, sometimes we talk, but like, I'm so tired, man. Just we do this so much. There's so much effort and time involved, and it is sometimes discouraging, and we are often betrayed not by the people that we think will betray us, but by the people that are sort of pretending to be our allies in a way. So, but at the end of the day, our cause is noble and just. I'm filled with righteous anger of God. I oppose any who would harm others, especially children. If you're harming children, there's something deeply wrong with your soul. And I stand firmly on that. And I know Tiffany does. And I would urge all of you listening, and please reach out to others as well, and ask them to please go to the Health Choice Maine website, healthchoicemaine.org. Sign up for the newsletter. This is critical because you will be kept abreast of the comings and goings and affairs of Health Choice Maine. And the more of us that unite and work together on our just causes, the more powerful we become. So please do that.
Thank you very much. I always appreciate you very much. So
Ditto. So, America, thank you for listening. Please pass this on if you feel there's valuable information here. Join us if you can here in Maine, Lemoyne, Maine, July 19th, 20th, 21st, third annual Maine Freedom Rally and Health Choice Maine Retreat. And there will be more information and speakers further down the line. You will see this if you keep abreast of my comings and goings and Tiffany's on the healthchoicemaine.org website. God bless you all. God bless America in this dark time and always. And I am Dana, the Angry Citizen. We will be talking again soon. America,